So we are now talking about absolute value. We did some absolute value equations at the beginning of this section. And 3.7b is going to be on absolute value inequalities. In Unit 3 on the whole, we've been talking about inequalities. We've learned how to solve them, how to graph them, how to use interval notation to represent them. We've looked at compound inequalities. And this has set us up to be able to look at absolute value inequalities. Now, these are a little bit tricky, but if you follow the steps, it's pretty straightforward. Okay? So there's 4 steps that we're going to use. The first is to decide if it's an and or an or inequality. Okay? Now remember our or is shaded like oars of a boat and our and looks like a sandwich shaded on the inside. But this is going to be a little bit different because for absolute values, if you have a greater than or a greater than or equal to an absolute value, it's going to give you a shading the outside. Less than or less than or equal to, it's going to give you a shade of the inside. It's going to be easier to see that, and so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it until we've actually done it. Second, you're going to set the inequality to get both the positive and negative answer. Both the positive and negative answer. And I'm gonna put something in right now. I'm gonna write it in red, which is when you put in the negative answer, okay, you're gonna flip the sign. Remember if we multiply or divide by a negative when we have an inequality, we always flip the sign? Well, we're gonna do that when we try to solve for the negative answer, okay? Then you're gonna solve the compound inequality and graph the solution set. So let's look at some examples because I think it's gonna be easier to explain all of this if we're using some examples. So we have the absolute value of x is greater than 6. Okay? So you're going to decide if it's an and or an or. So it's greater than, so this is going to be an or. Okay? This is going to be an or. I'm just going to write this up here so we know it. Right? So set the inequality to get both the positive and negative answer. So first the positive answer. X greater than 6. That's going to be the first thing we're going to do over here. Now, we're going to do the negative answer. But remember up here for the negative answer, we're going to flip the sign. So you're going to have x, and instead of greater than, I'm going to flip the sign. It's less than negative 6. So I have x greater than 6, x less than negative 6. Let's graph that. Boom, negative 6, positive 6. X is greater than 6. It's an open circle going to the right. X is less than negative 6, closed circle going to the left. Okay? This is an or, so does it look like shaded outside? Yes. Okay? Yes, it does. Now, just for the heck of it, I'm going to show you interval notation. Right? This is an or, so this is going to be a union. Right? We get negative infinity, comma, negative 6, less than, so it's not a bracket, unioned with 6, positive infinity. Okay. Let's look at example 2. Here we have x plus 4 is less than 6. Is it an and or an or? Well, it's less than, so we think this is going to be an and, right? Or a sandwich, shade the inside. Over here, we're going to have x plus 4 less than or equal to 6. Over here, we're going to have x plus 4. We're flipping the sign, so it's greater than or equal to negative 6. Let's solve. Subtract 4, x less than or equal to 2. Subtract 4, x greater than or equal to negative 10. Now, when we draw our number line, our negative 10 goes down here, right? It goes on the left. Positive 2 goes up here. It is less than or equal to 2, so that means it's a filled in circle. Greater than or equal to negative 10, that's a filled in circle. It's going to be shaded in the middle. This is our sandwich. It was an and, right? How would we write that in interval notation? Well, we've got negative 10 on the bottom, inclusive. 2, positive 2 on top, inclusive, to the right. Okay? I should say to the left and to the right. So absolute value of x plus 4 less than or equal to 6. We have x plus 4 is less than or equal to 6. On the other side, we have x plus 4 greater than or equal to negative 6. Remember, we set it equal to the negative answer, but we flipped the sign on the inequality. Sorry, we didn't set it equal. We set it to the negative answer. Okay. Finally, let's do example 3. Here we have absolute value of 3d minus 7 plus 3 is greater than 28. The first thing we're going to do is solve for our absolute value. Okay? We solve for that. Subtract 3 from both sides. Absolute value of 3d minus 7, sorry about that, is greater than 25. Now, it is greater than, so we think it's going to be an or, right? Greater than, or is going to be, so we think it's going to be an or shaded to the outside. Let's see what happens. We get 3d minus 7 is greater than 25. That's our positive. We got 3d minus 7 is, flip the sign, less than negative 25. Let's solve. add 7 over here. 3D greater than 18. I'm sorry, 32. This is adding 7. Divide by 3. D is greater than 32 thirds, right? Or 33 thirds is the same as 10 and 2 thirds, right? Solve over here, add 7 to both sides. 3D is less than negative 25 plus 7 is negative 18. Divide by 3. D is less than negative 6. This is an or, right? D is greater than 10 and 2 thirds or less than negative 6. We're going to draw our graph. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was off the screen. I'm going to bring this up so you can see it. My bad. So we're going to draw our graph. And we've got negative 6 down here, 10 and 2 thirds up here. D is greater than 10 or 2 thirds, so it's an open circle going to the right. We can see that. D is less than negative 6, closed open circle, going to the left. And I can represent that with interval notation as well as parentheses, negative infinity, negative 6, parentheses, unioned with, this is an or, so it's a union, with parentheses, 10 and 2 thirds, parentheses, for infinity. Okay? So, a couple basic steps for solving absolute value inequalities. Set the inequality to get both a positive and negative answer. For the negative answer, the one on the right, you're going to flip the sign. You're going to solve it, graph the solution set. If it's greater than or equal to, like number 1 or number 3, it's going to be a or situation, right? Oars of the boat. Less than or equal to, it's going to be a sandwich situation. Sorry that I went off the video a little bit there. I didn't realize you couldn't see it, but hopefully you get all of the information that you need. All right, we'll be back with chapter 4 next time.